The palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Please state your business here. The Chief Justice...
This place does look pretty heavily guarded.
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can...
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you to a...
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember...
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official
All right, then. I'll let you through. The Chief...
Thanks so much.
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Nervalet.
It's all right. Please let me know.
So you're not...
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please...
Who knew that Nervalet would be so easy to talk?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any... There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was really just a...
Is that so? All right, then.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how your father, Callas, was a truly exceptional man.
And what are you trying to say? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still... In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to the... If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing... Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep... It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would Oh well. In any case, my apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Right.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building?
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that. didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? And yeah, and if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're complete. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in...
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later? Great. Let's go then. There's no need to be so surprised. Well, my father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our tastes in exterior... A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless...
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in... But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself...
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. Melus, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our... You said before that you still had some business at the court.
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You still remember, right, Melus?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety. Well, as he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath. But no matter how much they not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind...
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get any... Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father.
Huh? How did that happen?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed... Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were... Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought... But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belonged to a third person at the scene. With one extra person... You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. I think this third person is probably the... On that note, however, even though this will not... Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss, even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson, there is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise...
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he... Was I not the closest person to him? What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Synth is still here. Callas the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as... I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day. And so I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake.
Lluvia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite
So you do know something else, Maloose?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you...
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he... And the serial disappearances case cost him... 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing... Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the... If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all...
Right, so nobody would be able...
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard. Especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful.
So he chose to die in silence.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. What Boss wanted... If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to... I'm sure he'd be extreme...
That fool. No. He might have set up everything precisely because he... Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am? Yeah. I suppose that's true. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. Maloose, what was the key evidence?
It's the location where synth is produced. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share. But if you want to use it against the enemy...
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go...
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organ. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also... But a single visit to their headquarters would be The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed.
Then, in that case, why not work with...
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case.
That's true. Seems but things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought...
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability...
Thank you for all of that, Maloose. Have you discovered any...
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately... If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the first is Florent, Spina de Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Flor...
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, there's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but not.
So, they're like a sister organization?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against... It's a bit difficult to imagine someone use...
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, since Thierry is always in the know about our current activity.
I see. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry.
Of course. And thank you, Malus.
You're too kind, my lady. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clear. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit.
Aw, thank you so much, Malus.
A new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together to uncover the truth.
With the wind.
It is settled, then. Please excuse me.
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Malus.
Excuse me, miss.
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula...
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of...
You don't understand it.
I didn't know how to face you. Because I didn't know what I could possibly bring. I know only the full truth could bring...
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but on the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have...
Would you mind sharing it with me?
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that he had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too late. So when Mr. Callas came to him with a proposal, he accepted it. He tried to be as careful as he could, but
They found out about his...
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should...
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his... I don't know that for sure, but... Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callas had always taken great... Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was...
But Mama, why is Papa still the... Papa always wanted to be a good man.
Well, things aren't always as they seem.
Yeah, Papa was a really good...
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find...
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is...
You really think so? That's the first time any...
Are okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Laurent should...
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House. Someone got turned...
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic? I'm sure...
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with... After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try... Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that...
Let me think. Mr. Callas was After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. My first reaction was that Mr. Callas's life was in danger. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callas was standing over...
So you also remember 2 gunshots?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jean. Reason being, Mr. Callas had left his gun on the table. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his... About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there was a third person?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also... The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callas ended up with the... But hold on. If that's what had happened, he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine. And chosen... Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve...
About that, Malouse told me a thing or two. I'll tell you everything once...
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr... And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callas, Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callas. Even after... But it was Mr. Callas's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula, no matter what others might say. He'll always be the man I respect.
Don't worry. I will definitely... You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserve to... Hey, Thierry! It's me!
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navi?
Oh, so you've got news of...
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances...
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Callas did a fantastic job running the town. Building Spina di Rosula, it would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy... Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these 2 friends?
Yes. These 2, what happened at the Opera House, made us realize that Linny's case and my father...
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that... If you want to go through the original files from your father's case...
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question.
Of course. Without them, I couldn't... Why do you ask? We definitely can't use...
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a... So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against...
Then you think too highly of my ability. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with you. I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come find me.
Hello. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just say Navia.
Sure. I will let him know.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House.
Yes, I've never
Oh, you were at the Opera House.
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf. I can already imagine everyone
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkard.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right?
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can
Oh, and
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to If not for the vigilance of my partner, I'd
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you?
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callas sought. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its fun.
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hide. Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catch. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask.
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need more. All my wealth comes from Callas' patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes.
We've talked to all three suspects. Purely based.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all. Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what.
But where should we start? Ah, you're right. Florent mentioned that Callas probably.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had. If I had to guess, he probably received an.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for.
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on. Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial sea.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow?
Given everything that's happened since. But who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Thierry, you say? But I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us.
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha? If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and...
Uncle Marcel? My father and with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. Still really hard for me to imagine, though. After all, Uncle... Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, but as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security, so he shouldn't have much...
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would... Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the...
Could we be missing other suspects? Malouse didn't know about the people turning into water thing when he narrowed it.
Malouse has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trust. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes, Malouse did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to—
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been...
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another...
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called
What? Is that someone—
Yeah, we know him.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial
Wait, how? None of our investigations have—
That's what I thought was strange about it, so if the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the...
Right, because they'll think they've already found—
Yeah, and it'll be a lot harder than to...
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just as expected of my partner. Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention— You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you.
We'll help you, just like you helped us in Lenny's trial.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malouse, Silver.
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might. It's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered.
Thank you so much.